Hello, everyone in the beautiful 5D Ascension Collective. We are so excited that it's time for a second live with all of you. Q&A, if you have anything that you want to type into the comments directly as you listen to us, of course, you are more than welcome to do that and we'll pick that up. But as we shared yesterday, there's one particular very exciting topic that we really want to talk about today, which has come out of all the channeling we have been doing for the entire week, which was like, whoa, mind-blowing experience. So Vishnupriya will give a little bit of update on what the motivation behind all this was. Why did we decide to channel like each day this week? And what was, especially from her perspective, the most profound news that we received through the whole experience?
So all of a sudden Sabrina was asking me about this channeling thing because I guess I was sharing a lot with her about my work experience with different channelers and different messages that I got. So something in her was like, oh, this is interesting. So she asked me, okay, I would love to know how to do this channeling. What are the different resources that you might recommend? Is there any course, class, certifications? So one thing that came up to me was this book called Opening to Channel by Sanaya Roman. So I just told her, this is a beautiful book if you want to take a look at that, but there's also these different kind of channeling courses that I might, can search for you. And she got really interested. In 2 days. She just read the entire book. And then she told me, well, I read the book and I just tried it as how they mentioned it in the book. And then I actually channeled, she sent me like a maybe 2 3 minute or 10 minute ish, less than 10 minute ish audio, which was like, this is my channeled thing. She sent me on WhatsApp and then I'm listening to it and I'm like, this is very low volume, darling. I just can't hear, but I see something has come out. And then she kind of transcribed it to me at a later time. And from there, we were like, oh, wow, what is this coming up? And I'm a person who naturally is very curious to just give you little, stuff about me back maybe like 3 4 years back when I really just started off looking at different healing modalities. I personally am certified in 10 different holistic healing modalities. So it was during my past life regression journey where I was a therapist. I got to know that there are some individuals, some human beings who are very kind of an open channel. So in the past life regression therapy, it's like a 2 hour, 3 hour session where we lead the client to actually go into some of their past lives. So what they taught me was 9 out of 10 people can only look at their past lives, stuff. But there could be 1 out of 10 who can actually connect to the higher self, connect to different beings, who can even go back up to their very first past life. They might be very, very an open channel, so to speak, who might uh, connect with different beings easily. And that was like, for me, at that moment in time, I had too many questions about creation. Who are we in truth? Why were human beings created? What is this universe? How was this created? Why was this created? I was this very, very curious being who wanted to know everything about the truth, right? What's the truth? So I was like, when I got this information that 1 out of 10 might be this kind of open channel who can answer any questions I ask them by connecting to the supernatural source, right? So I was in search for it. I was, doing past life regression for my brother, husband, sister, mother, everybody to find if there is such kind of an open channel, such kind of an open vessel where I get to ask any questions. But to my disappointment, most of them, all of them that I did past life regressions for, were only able to connect to their past lives and not to the, such kind of source or supernatural source, as I call it, where I can get answers to all my questions. So I was like, it would be nice if I can get such an open vessel. So it looks like Sabrina is the gift that I got as this open vessel, which can also talk. um, who can interestingly get connected to all of these different beings. And I was like, wow, what a gift. So then after this little channeling experience that Sabrina had, she asked me, "Huh, it would be nice if you can be in the show meaning in the space where you can ask me some questions and I can connect to this beautiful guide of her, who we call the Golden Guide." And then we started doing some of that channeling, where both of us sit on Zoom calls and I ask the questions and she connects and the answers come through. So you might ask, huh, how do we know if is it Sabrina talking or somebody else? It is interesting when we do these channeling sessions, she starts talking like different people, different beings. You know, especially the very first guide who came through was a very, very strong male being, which is totally opposite to her natural, feather-like, woman uh, um, attitude and how she speaks, right? She speaks like as if she's singing a song, versus this male being who came to her was very strong. Was like I literally was like shaken up. How do I say? A bit feared to talk to this being, and I was like, oh wow, Sabrina behaves too weird now. Because that was literally the first experience for us, Sabrina talking like somebody else. But anyways, this was an interesting journey, and the information that came through her was totally out of the box of our consciousness. Nothing that I know of, nothing that she knows of. Very, very different information that was coming through. So, and since I had worked with different channelers before, I could easily see and feel the truth in the information that came through. So that was the starting of our channeling journey. And then few days or weeks down the line, we were starting to in the last week, in fact, right? So last week we were starting to put together this beautiful Facebook group, donation based model, and we were like, a lot of content, channeled content, really appeals and aligns with me and Sabrina. So we were planning to actually facilitate channeled books and channeled meditations that totally aligns with us. Last week, I guess it was during the weekend, somewhere inner guidance maybe, that I got like, huh, it will be interesting if we can maybe channel our own material for the new wave. So, and I shared it with her and I asked, hey, can we channel and see if some new information comes through for new wave specifically? And there we go. We planned the session just last Monday. By the way, if you're listening to it at a later time, today is August 11, 2023, Friday. So I'm just talking about Monday of this week, 4 days back. So we started this interesting channeling for the new wave. With that intention, we began. We thought her guide, the golden guide as we call him, might come through. Interestingly, a totally different group of beings speaking with one tone came up, and they said, well, looks like you have some questions. We are here to answer. I had a list of questions already, and we are here to answer. So I was like, who is this? They were like, well, we don't have any names or labels. We are just a different group of beings who do have answers to some of your questions. And I was like, okay, great. Is there a name that you prefer so we can address you? And they were like, no, you don't have to. The first day was like, no name. All right, so then I start asking my interesting questions around a lot of different things. Now, I don't remember the first set of questions I had, but since we had been channeling for the entire week, all sorts of questions about whether it's about the creation, about money, about human life. We were asking questions, especially for me. It was like, let's say, awakening your heart center, or um, higher self, soul, divine self. These kind of, since I had been exposed to a lot of spiritual teachings, especially enlightenment. What is enlightenment? So many, many, many questions. So I started asking each different questions was showing up. I started asking. These are just like 30 minutes to 45 minutes of channeling that we did. So the second day we asked them, okay, is there, because we will be using this content to put out in videos and books and everything, publishing it out there, we just require some label to call you, to tell you as. So they gave us different options. If that's the case, then you can call us our collective. Maybe is very close to us, collective of one, or you can call us the collective of energy. Da, 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 da. They gave us few options, and we were like, okay, that's good. Let's choose the collective of one because the information that was coming through was very close to oneness. And this information now we will share some few details about what we actually got. But just to give you my perspective about it, um, as I said, there are so many different courses, classes, spiritual teachings. I had gone through different, you know, teachings of the enlightened beings who had been in this planet. So all sorts of different levels of consciousness, as I call it, I had been exposed to. But this information that came through was the most simple, most non-judgmental. There's no structures, boxes, and in fact, that was the core of what they were telling us. That hey, remove all the boxes, remove all the structures that you've put together. For a question like, what is higher self, soul, divine self? They were like, no, you don't have to create that hierarchy, for example, right? Their answer to most of my questions were that all of us are just energy. Everything is energy in this entire universe. And they don't even use this language that I'm talking right now, right? They don't even use the word universe. They call it universe as you call it. Because for them, it's just energy. One word, one simple word in their dictionary. Looks like their dictionary has the least number of words that I've ever seen in any beings. Right? Their dictionary has the word energy, and it's like everything is energy, and then the word one. Everything is just one, another oneness of it. So that's what was coming through. So I give it to Sabrina now. Sabrina, how was your experience? And you can share the moral of the story as you see it from what information that we've got from them.
Yes, I mean, for me, it was a very profound experience. It's very energizing whenever I channel, but doing it on a regular basis and especially with such a collective, because I can feel like it's a group, and then whatever questions Vishnupriya has, and she doesn't always share with me what questions she has. So it's like I just connect, and then something comes through that is just right for her and her questions, which is very fascinating to me. And the interesting thing was that my guide, so to speak, the golden guide whom I had connected with earlier, came through a few days before we decided to do this, I think on Saturday. And I was sitting on the train and I was listening to Vishnupriya's voice message around certain topics that we were discussing about 5D ascension, actually, and 5D living. And as I was listening to her, he came through and he showed me certain images of, it was so beautiful, like just energy flowing in this space of the universe, like beautiful darkness, not scary darkness, and all these lights blinking, and then beautiful, just flows of energy flowing through everything, flowing through us. And it was the most amazing images. So when we started channeling on Monday, and then this collective showed up, I was like, whoa, that was like preparation for me to be able to even grasp what all this was all about. And for me, the moral of the story is so beautiful because everything that they say is about letting go of the idea of separation, letting go of this is better than the other, or letting go even of the idea, especially in the spiritual community, that enlightenment means I am sort of on a higher level than someone else and all that. And they were speaking in these amazing terms that we still struggle to express in our language, but there's something around everything is energy, so everything is one, but this energy is beautifully expressed in diversity. So while we are all one, we are all also diverse in our own most beautiful way, and that's how it should be. There's no like this is wrong or this is right and you should be something else. than you are or anything like this. So the energy of the teachings that we are getting from the collective of one is of such purity and such alignment. There's literally no contradiction in anything they say around that truth. And sometimes we would ask questions that sort of have underlying idea or perspective of separation, and they would immediately bring that to our attention. Like, okay, we get your question, but what you are actually coming from here is again an idea of separation. So the entire week we have been feeling like everything we have been believing in was like um, was like blowing everything into pieces. Because, and I've just seen a comment here, I keep hearing that we are all one from various teachers. Yes, but there's always this story around, in order to be worthy, or in order to be enlightened, or in order to be the best version of you, or to be the highest potential, or whatever, you have to flow through, you have to go through a certain hierarchy, or you have to be a specific way. You can't just be energy, right? That's sort of what humans have created around here. So at the core, of course, a lot of teachings already understand that the truth is one, but accepting the diversity in the one, truly accepting it, we have not found such profound words that blow away any limitations, any idea of separations, and be so true to that idea of oneness. So I think that's, for me personally, the big difference in how they were speaking about this information, and how they were talking about that truly everything is just energy, that there's no difference between a perceived physical reality and a perceived spiritual reality and all that. So, I mean, we are just giving an outline here, but it it was very unique in that sense. Yes.
Yes, yes. So I would love to draw a picture, and so all of you can get the summary of what is it that we are talking about, because we really have no words to speak. And I hope today's meditation will be much. Uh, the meditation might give you a better experience of what we are talking about, is what I feel. So you can think of this conversation as just helping you gain some conceptual understanding around it. And I feel you really have to experience it rather than just conceptual knowledge of what this is. So imagine this entire universe as a beautiful globe, right? Since we are all exposed to how a globe looks like. And imagine the entire universe, not just the planet Earth, but the entire universe. And now imagine this entire globe, it's just a flow of energy, right? So imagine from the above just a wave, and imagine it literally as waves in the ocean. How you see waves after waves, because these were some of the images that I got as well as they explained about what this entire creation is all about. So imagine the ocean waves, and but imagine it in a circular globe. Interestingly, the flow of energy from my electric power is not entering into my computer. That's the best way I can explain in the NuWave language. This is very interesting. I'm like saying, hey, electricity, the energy of electricity, it would be so nice if it can flow into my laptop so it doesn't turn off. Now it is flowing. Beautiful. So let's come back. That's the language that we're talking about. It was literally for me like I'm going from Earth to Moon, and learning a new language that is being taught, spoken in the moon. So I'll come back to it. So let's come back. Universe, like a beautiful globe, and then imagine these waves, right? And now, if you have gone to a beach, it will be so nice. You know how each wave is different and unique. One is small, one is huge, one is very taper in shape. There is the wave only in one section of the beach, but that wave is very short, for example. So you can imagine that as the diversity that we are talking about. Now, let's imagine planet Earth as this little globe, right? What do you see on planet Earth? There's so many trees, animals, all sorts of nature, there's human beings, etc. Now, I would love for you to envision the planet Earth only from an energetic perspective, right? Just see as everything is just energy. Now, if you imagine a tree, how does that look like if it was just energy? How does the leaf of a tree look like energetically? How does the stem and the root? How does the soil look like? How does actually a human being look like when you imagine it as just energy? If you can, all of a sudden you had this different eye vision opened up and all you see is just energy and nothing else can you see. How would the planet Earth look like? Now, as you can imagine, yes, everything is energy, but at the same time, there's some difference, right? So, a human being energetically might look like different from a tree, for example. And even different human beings might look like a different energy. That's the best word to put it. So, how they explained it is there is only slow moving energies and faster moving energies. Everything is energy. You and me are all just energies. And we are not separate. We are all one. We are all connected, is even not really aligned. We are not connected as it is, but we are all just one. But we have different speed of energy flowing through us, right? So that's it that they could give us. And then they said there is beauty in this diversity. Somehow you human beings have made it wrong or for the slower moving energies and you make it right for the faster moving energies. For example, I asked a question like, what is enlightenment? What is the difference between an enlightened being versus a normal human being? And they were like, well, there's no big difference other than the enlightenment or the enlightened beings have much faster moving energies. And then they also use the word of purification and contamination. So, what we are doing, as you can imagine, energy in general, its core nature is that it loves to move, just flow around freely with all its freedom and liberation. That's what energy is, just like waves of ocean. If you try to stop the wave of ocean, it creates stagnation. So, what is happening here is, let's say, the energy in its purest form and the fastest speed just coming down, slowing down, contaminating itself, and then purifying itself, and then just continuing its flow over and over again, right? So imagine this as those ocean waves from behind, like in the beach, coming in front, maybe contaminating itself in the soil. It brings up a lot of maybe shells and soil and muddy and everything. It comes out, and then again, the flow just continues on and on. So that's the best metaphor that I can give you. So this is all that is happening in the entire creation. There is no ladder for you to climb up there and say that, hey, now I'm enlightened and the work is done. No, it's just energy just moving. And now let's come back to me as a human being. So then I started asking questions like, okay, I have a lot of these negative thoughts, negative emotions that I want to get rid of and become a better human being according to my language. And they are like, well, that's not how we see it. We see every human being as this flow of energy. That's the truth, right? We are just a flow of energy. Some of you have slower moving energies, some of you have faster moving energies. So the slower moving energies are what we call as negative thoughts, negative emotions. And they say the purpose of human life is just to be this kind of an energy purifier. What we are doing at every moment in time is we are just purifying energy. That's it. So, how then this purification happens and how is this contamination happening in the first place, right? So, as you can imagine, as I said, the energy flowing down, kind of contaminating itself. And there's nothing wrong about contamination, rather, the diversity of it is admired because it's beautiful to see energy in all of its forms. So just because energy is contaminated doesn't mean it's bad or wrong, because that's human thinking. But no, according to them, even that contaminated energy, or in fact, the true word that they are using is just slow moving energies. Even contamination, I feel, has too many wrong definitions
Mm.
to it. So let's just use their language, which is slower moving energies. Slower moving energies has its own beauty versus faster moving energies have that own beauty, right? So all we are is that this flow of energy, and some of us have very slow moving energy, some of us have a little faster, and then very fast. And now what we call as positive and negative, as you can imagine, the most negative thoughts, negative emotions have very, very slow moving energies in it. And we feel like, and then I asked a lot of questions around human body pain and illnesses and diseases, for example, which they said, well, it's just a result of very slow moving energies. It almost is like stagnant, right? A body pain, for example, can be considered as the slow moving energy is very slow to a point where it's almost stagnant, that you can imagine the pressure that's built up because energy really wants to move, and it's too slow in a specific part of your body. It really wants to move, and then the intensity of it is increasing, which creates a pain where you start feeling that that portion of your body has very, very slow moving energy. It just wants to release. So then how do we do that, right? So here what they have recommended as a solution, if at all our intention is to increase the speed of the flow and have a free flow of energy in us, their recommendation is, in the present moment, if you can be at total ease. This is where the four frequencies, as we call it at NuWave, ease, joy, love, and abundance, right? So the more we feel at ease and joy and love in that present moment, it makes us feel good, right? What is the difference between feeling worry and feeling at ease? It's just that ease makes me feel good. Why is it so? Because it's a faster moving energy compared to worry, which is slower moving energy. So, in the present moment, the more you are feeling at ease and joy and love, for example, the more you're feeling good in general, the faster moving energies are flowing through you. And it automatically purifies you of the slower moving energies automatically leave. And I would love to complete our story here by saying this last statement, which is acceptance. The one thing that I could finally get from them as us human beings wanting to learn something is acceptance. So if you can be at every moment, be in acceptance of every life situation, of every negative thought. You don't have to change your negative thought. You don't have to change your negative emotion. If you can be in acceptance of that thought to just flow through you. So this is the practice that I've started doing this week, which is when a negative thought comes up, I allow this thought to flow through me. I accept it and I allow it to flow. When I feel a negative emotion like stress, worry, sadness, I look at it, I'm aware of it, and I'm like, I accept this and I let it flow through me. The more we are let, what is happening is we resist the negative thought, we resist the negative emotion. That creates stagnation in our system. Rather, if I'm like, I accept this, I look at a life situation, somebody maybe just judging me or blaming me, for example, rather than resist that blame as how we create conflicts in our world, if I can be like, oh, I see it's a slow moving energy when somebody is blaming you, as an example, is a slow moving energy that they are sending towards you, and we tend to resist it. Rather, if I can be like, I let that flow through me, I accept it, I just let it flow through me, through the system, it automatically leaves. You're not carrying it. If that blame that they have done is coming to your mind over and over again in the next few hours, it means you're holding to it, you're resisting it, you're not letting it flow, right? So if I can be in that acceptance mode and say that, oh, I let it flow through me, it walks away, and never again am I thinking about it or am I feeling anything around it. It's gone, right? So this is a little practice that I have been doing after all this channeling. Anything to add on, Sabrina, as a closure of this conversation?
Yeah, I think what is interesting as I listen to you, I get the sensation that there's a lot, of course, that we have heard from other sources that is similar. But what the difference is the core underlying essence, because we have heard surrender, acceptance, let it go, all this kind of stuff, but it still comes from a place of judgment, of this is better than the other, rather than a space of, okay, we are all connected because we are all energy, and all we want to do is let that energy flow freely. So there's so much more we could share around what we are actually as humans looking for. Might not even be the term happiness, but it might be the term freedom rather than happiness. So, there's more to it, but what we wanted to give you today is just like starting to walk around with the image of everything is energy, so everything is connected, but also everything expresses the energy differently, and that's beautiful, and you are beautiful in the way you express that energy. And if you choose to, you can let your energy flow faster, right? And that will create something profound in your life. But that acceptance, it's not what we have been taught all along, what it truly means. So I can sense that we might want to go into this in more discussions and more Q&A until all of us, because we are also still grasping it fully, until all of us have fully grasped what acceptance truly means from that perspective of energy flow. So, yes, that is my little addition here towards the end of the conversation.
Beautiful. So, this is just an introduction. As you can see, we will go much deeper into each of these concepts in the upcoming videos and Q&As. For now, let's jump on to our meditation for today, and let's see what comes through. I know once Sabrina starts guiding us, we might get different beings again assisting us, aiding us in this process of just truly experiencing what we are talking about. Let's go ahead, Sabrina.
Yes. Okay, let's go ahead. And also, I've seen this beautiful comment here. How can we release all the backlog of negative emotions, years of accumulated emotions? Yes. So, part of it is what we are still channeling, like what practices can we practically, you know, apply in our life. So, we will definitely share everything that we get. But part of it will be hopefully that we support you today already with the meditation that we are doing here in letting some energies flow a little faster again. So let's see what happens as we step into this space. And then in the next couple of days, weeks, rest assured that we will share everything else that we are getting in terms of practices.
Sure, just one addition to it. It's a beautiful question. How can we release all the backlog of negative emotions and years of accumulated, negative energies, as we call it? This is interesting. Through the collective of one, what has come through is first, are we able to look at the beauty of the negative emotions? Are we able to not wanting to let go of the negative emotions, but truly looking at it with, oh, these are just slow moving energies. I truly see the diversity in them. I truly see the beauty in them. Just like how the positive emotions and the positive side of things look so beautiful to me, these negative emotions also look so beautiful. Wow. Can we be in that state, not trying to, I want to get rid of this negative emotion stuff? No, from that space we cannot. Rather, I truly see the beauty in them, that this also adds to the beauty of this entire universe. I truly love and accept and see that's what the true acceptance here is, which is seeing the beauty in the diversity, seeing the beauty even in our negative thoughts and negative emotions, taking it as a little baby in your hand and truly looking at it with admiration. Yes, this adds to the beauty of this universe, and I love it, right? So, if we can truly look at that from that perspective, it starts transforming, because what happens there is you're adding that positivity into even that so-called negative stuff, as we call it.
So we hope that you really enjoyed this. If you have any additional questions, comments, thoughts, just send us messages, put it in the comments, post in the group, and we are happy to take it all up and, for all of us to be together in this journey of absorbing this beautiful, beautiful information that we are receiving. Vishnupriya, anything you would like to add before we let people go?
Good, and that was such a beautiful experience. Thanks, Sabrina. And thank you, everybody. As I said, this is an introduction, but we will come back to you with lots more information. Send us your questions as well. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful experience.
Thank you.